also find a purpose wherein they are employed in something good. They're trying to help bringing in the new generation, not judging the coming daughter-in-law. But I am very privileged to be here. I mean, I want to really thank Soil Cup to give me this platform where I could share my story. I'm in business since 11 years now. I am myself a mother of two. I belong to a Hindu Paniya family. So I have stayed in a joint family. I have traveled across like 20 countries. I have, stayed with, people from different nationalities. So staying with people, knowing different people from different religion has made me inquisitive about people's behavior. I always wanted to learn about dynamics of people. How do they behave in a certain situation? What do they eat? How is their in every age group, how do people behave? How do people talk? Right. So that is where my education came from. I wanted to study about behaviors. I wanted to study about nutrition. So basically, as I mentioned about my joint family, every age has different problems in terms of physical health and mental health. So right. With this, I bought my baby called My Diet by Mehak Bansal, and it's been 11 years we've been successfully doing this. And with this, we were not only going great nationally but internationally. And as I told you, that every age group I am born in a family wherein I've seen personally and carefully analyzed about people. Sometimes we ignore that what problem a child will be facing, if he's privileged in a way that he's been given all the toys, but what about their anxiety? Sometimes we just ignore because it's like too little, a child is too young, but they have their own issues. A child who's coming towards puberty has their own issues in terms of physical health also, because even a boy or a girl goes through a lot of changes in their body, also their mind. And sometimes there are very small things we ignore as parents, like comparing kids with other kids. With this initiative of nutrition, so it's not only, I didn't put it as a dietitian concept only, like I didn't put it as only nutritional guidance, eat this. In this era where everybody is privileged with, a lot of access towards information through social media or Google and other things, people know that this is how we can eat right. But sometimes all of us require that one push, right? Where we want that motivation, we want that follow up in terms of what is going on, how well are we doing it. Sometimes unawareness or little bit awareness is not enough. So at every age, as I mentioned, sometimes when I see that people who are getting married because people of their age or their friends or peer group are getting married. So but that is not how it's supposed to be. So this comes in my counseling, wherein I tell them that it has to be when you are financially ready, when you are more settled in your career. It is not when your parents are forcing you to do it, because sometimes when you are not aware about the concept of marriage, you don't know about the institution of marriage, then people feel lost, and that is where we see that there are a lot of the mental health is getting affected, their career is getting affected, the relationship amongst the couple is getting affected. Right. Again, when I talk about age stress, pregnancy is something. So people get into having a child is a very big responsibility. And what I've seen is that there is no criteria. People don't decide well enough when to have a child. So there has to be enough counseling of that couple that has to come in. When are they ready? Is the man and the women both involved to bring in this child peacefully? Because if a mother faces a lot of problems emotionally and physically in her pregnancy, this does affect post-pregnancy. It's a very big this thing. People believe that it's so common, kya ho gaya, wo kaam karti hai. It's okay to work in the pregnancy. It's okay to do everything. This is the time when actually she needs the most of her care, because she's bringing in a generation. Right. If something is affected, the whole family is affected. And then we bring this masculinity. The man believes that this is the job of a mother. The mother has to do most of the things. Already she sees so many things on her body. There are so many many physical changes that she sees. In that time, I think it's very mean that people say that बहुत मोटी हो गई है, you have gained a lot of weight. So there has to be enough
Common.
awareness, this is not right. They get all these hormonal imbalances, a lot of problems. Being compared to another woman, being compared to their own friend is very bad again.
Right.
So there has to be subjects, wherein all these counseling at different ages. A
Right.
senior citizen in our home should be, can also be very cheerful, should have more work, except, just looking onto their kids and asking their kids to have children maybe, or doing this or that. Rather, senior citizens should also find a purpose wherein they are employed in something good. They're trying to help bringing in the new generation, not judging the coming daughter-in-law. So
Right.
we have to break in all these social stigmas, how to deal with midlife crisis. People, I believe that in our 30s or in our 40s is
Right.
an age where comparatively when our kids grow older, we find more time, and that is where we can follow our passions. We can do, if there's a woman who wants to learn dancing, there's a guy who wants to do guitar. I see people saying that ye tumhari koi age hai kya, is this the appropriate age to learn of this? Actually, this is the age when you try to find some time, because you're more settled with your career. Your parents are settled because they got you married and you have kids now. I mean, there are a lot of things we face every day wherein we see that there has to be counseling, and we see that there are mean things that a woman has said, and also men, I'll say. So even a man who is married faces a lot of problem in terms of adjusting to a new person in their life, and he's been judged. So I'll not always say that a woman is a victim of a new marriage and that adjustment thing. Also a man.
Right.
A man who is comparatively satisfied, his 40s, wherein he has a mediocre car, mediocre lifestyle. However, he's told about stories of people who have made it very big. Though he may feel satisfied, but everybody talks about the successful person more than appreciating the person sitting right next to him.
Right.
So
Exactly.
again, there has to be some institution which tells them that this is not right, and this is very generic. Whatever some topics which I have brought here is very generic. I mean, it's about an old age person. It's not every age demands respect. Even a child does. So
Right.
it's not that we always respect somebody because of their age, but also every age demands respect.
Respect.
So
Right.
a senior citizen needs to respect a child, an adolescent, a new 20-year-old women getting married or anything. Respect is something everybody deserves, and we have to learn to have content, what to speak. This was like I exaggerated more on my mind, but nutrition again. So nutrition, we believe ki mote ho gaye, we've gained a lot of weight, go for nutrition. However, nutrition is something that takes care of our hair, our skin, even how we think. When I told about my business, people were like, they knew me as a dietitian only.
Yes.
But when I was taking clients, not only there's some Indian client who didn't want to, but had to shift to US because of their parents or something like that. So
Right.
before I tell them that this is the diet that you have to do, there was a lot of motivation, there was a lot of counseling that needs to be done, so that they can pick up that diet chart and start with it. Touchwood, I have a supportive family. I mean, my mother-in-law, my husband does support me a lot in terms of my work. बच्चा mother को ही देखना पड़ता है. अभी भी this generation has to look after the child. So I mean, that is where I do have my office setups, but I was always working online while bringing up the first child, because again, as I told you, I am very sensitive person. I always wanted somehow कि मैं जब school जाऊँ, my mother should come to collect me from school. So I try to do the same. Again, I said, this is, I know driver bhi le aayega, a driver can also carry the child, but you should see the smile that the child gets when the mother comes to pick up the child. So in our daily life, every age, believe me, every age, even a man, we say that men are stronger, even man, everybody needs emotional support. How do we expect that these little ones don't? So bringing in children at home. Also, I was working every day. I was even working in both my my pregnancies. So I just try to, wherever I need a break, I used to take break. I used to cut out. So I will share a strategy with all the viewers
Yeah,
what
sure.
I used to do, and that did help me a lot. So I used to maintain this one page, and I used to divide it into four quadrants, wherein I used to classify what kind of activities I do in the entire day, and what are more relevant, what are lesser relevant. Like it would be some, the first quadrant says what is more important for me and what makes me happy. The second says what is less important but makes me happy. The third quadrant says less important but makes me happy, and the fourth says doesn't make me happy and is not important. So first of all, we are able to chuck this quadrant out of it. Like anything which is not making me happy and is not important should be chucked out of the schedule anyway. And then trying to find out things which are lesser important and makes us happy is something that we should inculcate in our schedule.
Right.
Everybody has different schedules, and we can all, if we maintain this chart, has really helped me. May sound kiddish, but it does help. Something which is more important and makes us happy should be the place where we should invest in the most of our energy. So let's just say, like, I quit cooking that moment because I was anyway earning, and cooking did take a lot of time, so I was not cooking. But I when I was sitting there, I could supervise and I could tell them. So I maintained a schedule that this is what will be. And believe me, hiring a cooking staff is not that expensive. If you're a working woman, you can hire somebody for all these things. Again, groceries, or these house helps, thanks to a lot of companies that provide house helps also. And so we can manage, we can always pen down what is like the primary thing. There was this whiteboard I had, so wherein I was, so there were very bad days where I used to feel that kuch bhi manage nahi ho pa raha. And there were people who used to advise that quit work, because if it is kid, house and work, every woman is asked to quit your work. But as I told you, there was not even a single day I could, because work for us is like a stress buster. Work is does give us definition, because there will be a time wherein the kids will find a purpose. They'll be busy, they'll be more occupied in their studies or extracurricular. That is where work will sail us through. It will give us a purpose, and there we can invest our energy. And you are doing a wonderful job. As I said, you are promoting MSMEs, so everybody will get this courage who probably have left their jobs. I agree, sometimes working, but COVID, I think, if you see positively, COVID has made it positive. There are a lot of women who can work from home, also take care of their children nicely. So a lot of emotional support has been given and taken care of. People are becoming sensitive. Every person has a story. There are people who have had childhood traumas. There are people who've had a teenage relationship flaw, right? There are a lot of things. So when we do mind therapy, it's just two people talking. One is listening, one is talking, and they get a room wherein they can speak anything and everything about whatever bothers them, whatever their trigger points are, whatever makes them happy. Sometimes when we are exploring ourselves, we are talking to because otherwise, you see, everybody is so busy, nobody has the time to listen to anybody or talk to anybody, and nobody cares. Everybody is busy. So mind therapy, wherein when I'm with I'm doing an online session with my client, it's just the client speaking about anything and everything, about their interests, hobbies, and we try to. So I am, first of all, I am properly documenting everything. We try to see patterns, that this is the every time this happens, and this person X gets angry. Every time this happens, said this person X gets very sad. So we try to do some mapping. We try to slowly and steadily, with a lot of counseling, with activities, with a lot of things, we try to bring these triggers down. And every week we follow up. How is this situation? We try to make them confront their fears, and that's how we have tried to make them stronger. They can achieve their goals. There might be, we have seen very interesting cases. I mean, I have seen so many cases, and it's come out as a surprise. Like, otherwise you see this person and you see that everything is so perfect about him or her. But when we listen to this person, we see that there is so much trouble, there is so much going on inside, which when they went out, and we try to find out solutions from, as I told you, I have a lot of experience in terms of, I've stayed with people. There has been times where I've when there was no money, and we have dealt with it. And there was time that we have loads of it, and then we lost a lot of money. You know, they were everybody has faced childhood traumas. Like in my school, I was one of the most fat chick in this class, and I was teased a lot, and I was, everybody in the class, when there was this medical room session, wanted to know that what is Mehak Bansal's weight, because if everybody was in their 30s, I was like 54. So that way, I mean, it was, again, I didn't want to go to school. I had that largest uniform size.
Right.
So people did make me
It
feel bad,
becomes,
and there were
your
teachers
mind.
also used to laugh on me, and I thought that, this has to come in schooling, that how children do get affected, how do these teenager girls who are getting pimples on their skin, getting fatter because of some hormonal disorder like PCOD. So I'm
Right.
dealing with a lot of clients who have PCOD. So
Hmm.
these girls are like, they come to even 90 kgs, and we have tried to pull them down to 60, because there are teenagers who have relationships, and they cannot go to their parents. They start emotional eating a lot. There are a lot of burgers, a lot of everything, and
Right.
even alcohol for that matter. They are these two organs na fitted. If we have to deal with our heart, something related to heart, how are we making our liver bothered if we are taking alcohol or anything else? So we have to find out. Sometimes they don't have clue, and wherein the parents who are more aware bring in this teenager child to me, and I totally, we try to bring in that what has happened. Is there something has happened wrong sexually also? Sometimes the girls do hide it from their parents. So that is what we have tried to. And I didn't like, we keep everything very confidential, but it does trigger to that one. There are kids these days who are, they try to see that they are not straight in their teenage, but they're not able to discuss it because there's so much of society stigma. As I said, very mean
Right.
comments come in.
What you like in your work?
I like that the fact that if I make somebody's life better,
Right.
there was a client from Abohar. Abohar is in near India and Pakistan border. It's a part of Rajasthan. So she had a lot of problems in terms of her health and relationships. She was taking almost 6 medicines in a day. And within 6 months, when I used to hear her a lot with her problems, and sharing the right diet with her, this is how you should exercise, this is what you do. In 6 months, you should see her. I mean, there's not even a single medicine that she's taking. She's walking, she's motivated. She uploads reels on Instagram. It's always good to spread happiness, and it's always good to tell everybody that it's all right. This is probably a new start. So
Right.
that is how I did make a lot of difference. There are people who come back to me who've been associated with me like 10 years ago, 9 years ago. So I think it's अच्छा क्या होएगा that you make a positive difference to somebody's life. There was a child who was very affected. He had diabetes, who was 15-year-old, and could get rid of it, the extra weight, in like 2 years time. So this child was about 120 kgs and could come down to 70 in all these 2 years, and consistent work. And yes, I mean, when he used to talk to me, he used to mention there was this girl who he liked, and when he had this chiseled body, he could get n number of girls easily. I mean, this was this thing. So this is what comes with mind therapy. So it is diet and mind. So we have tried to secure maximum happy people. I think happiness to some extent comes with materialistic things, which can be a expensive watch or clothes, but it comes from inside. And also you have to feel fit. If you are too bloated, if you have a lot of gastric issues, if you have cholesterol, PCOD, hormonal issues, you not feel well, you're taking a lot of medicines, this is also somewhere affecting.
Is there anything else you want to share to our viewers?
I will rather say that when I have heard so many stories all these years, nothing comes as a shock to me. Like people who mention that somebody who has had cancer, somebody who has had a loss in the family, there's a financial loss, totally doesn't come as a surprise, because as I told you, there are a lot of things which I have personally seen, but I I believe that when you feel this disheartened that life is over, and so it's not. Life is a beautiful gift. Every time the carving is required, we have to be like this. We have to be like water. When in a glass, we have to shape according to a glass. When in a bowl, we have to
Shape
shape
according.
accordingly. So
True. And
everyone, no matter what. So, Abhi, the major thing that we see is this fear of missing out. People feel miserable while when they see their near ones on Instagram or other platforms, doing a lot. Everybody will upload their positive story. They don't tell their, the inside story. Nobody will put a bad picture there. But yes, everyone is facing their own struggles. But just that you should be able to, you know, get going. You should not stop.
right.
Whether it be for health, whether it be, we have seen a 70 kg girl who was not able to conceive because of her PCOD problems. However, we saw somebody who was 100 kg beautifully giving birth to kids.
True.
So we have to always apply our own wisdom and consciousness that if at all without any medication we can get rid of our problems better from what we are, what we were earlier. We are our own sailor. Anybody can assist, but we have to make it, and we
The
should
very
stop
less.
complaining about circumstances.
Yeah.
I got to meet Kriti Sanon, ma'am. I got to meet Prachi Desai. Just recently, I got this national award from Aarti Singh, who has been a big boss. This thing. I got to talk to Anita Kundu, ma'am. She's a mountaineer. I mean, she's
Yeah.
very famous and she's very fit. She's had a very strong story in terms of how she bought kids in Haryana and belonging to a conservative family and all of that. And yes, I was also from a very conservative family. But yes, again, slowly and steadily, when things were brought up and we tried to them, today we are even. We do understand. We have tried to break a lot of stereotypes, and like we have made life better wherever possible. I wish
So
I
much.
wish I could help more people. I mean, helping more people and listening to success stories
Yeah.
where comes to me comes as an award to me. That is the biggest reward that I get.
Thank you so
That I
much.
could make a difference to
Just
somebody's life. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.